and so then another thing, was the elevation of the souls that have passed. And so that's why in the chat I put in that today is the anniversary of John F. Kennedy Jr., John F. Kennedy's assassination that happened on November 22nd, and which was a great soul for peace that was taken from us. And today's the 57th anniversary, and I kind of wanted to ask Mr. Keshe whether he's going to comment on this. Is that in 1961, President Kennedy put forth memos then that he was aware of that a clandestine shadow government was going to take over the United States after the war. And so what President Trump did recently was, because of the elections and all the things that where it was pretty much the elections were fraudulent, he's invoked what's called Memorandum 57 that was written by President Kennedy back in 61, which was never enacted, but now has officially been enacted, to where the CIA clandestine no longer acts without impunity. And so the CIA has always been the shadow government. They've always been out there. They've been able to do whatever they've wanted, and no one can stop them. But now that this piece of legislature that went back to the assassination and President John F. Kennedy now has been invoked, and so now the shadow government is no longer in the shadow. They have to come. They have been put under the point where they're under the Department of Defense, and so now the fraudulent election that happened in the United States, and then all the fraudulent elections that have happened in all other countries because of these clandestine groups are now going to be shown. So if you've ever in any of your countries where voting you thought was free and fair and secure, has not been, and that's what's coming to head now. So we're in the United States, we've gone into the constitutional crisis, and we're going to be exposing everything with regard to the election processes and how it's been basically chosen. People are chosen, and now that the funding has been taken away from the CIA, or the ability to do whatever they want, now things are things that are going to change. And I just wanted to know if Mr. Keshe wanted to speak about that, or whether that was what has prevented from Iran from working with the United States, because the CIA is what put the Shah in and did all these other things. And so now if we can take them out of the picture, now perhaps NASA and Iran can start working together, because now they have a reason to work together, because the people want to work together. Thank you.
Good evening. You shouldn't ask me this question, because I'm very biased. But what President Trump has done in respect to bringing this new law in, if it can go through and get passed through the Senate and the rest of it, because it has to be written. It cannot be just by word of the president because he's written it.
No, it was already on the books. It's been on the books for 57 years. They just never did it. So all he did was activate it.
Yes, but still you find out it won't be so easy. It's the Senate has to ratify it again. You'll find out they'll find a lot of things around it. But from the information we have from inside CIA worked to see Trump not to get elected. This is what we speak to people in that level, and they were actively involved in this position. But what wonders you is, nowadays, if you can have a bank account that you can reach it with iris and fingerprint or a face recognition, how come the governments don't choose this path? Be it in an election or poll, of people using their mobile. I think sooner or later governments will go for this, because in a way you reduce the, what I call, possibilities, but both sides can see who's voted where and how. Or it can be done in secret. But in so many ways, we know CIA has been active part. It will not stop. If they stop CIA or bring CIA under control, they bring ICA or something else to do its work. This is the only way that governments have ever governed, especially American government, in putting people where they want. And I don't see it changing. It won't change anything. They build another secret unit next to it. It cannot be done. It is part of their structure. But would it change anything unless we bring latest technologies in? Maybe, possibly, can be reduced to limited, as you cannot get into the bank, but still people get into the bank. And certain sorts of recognition of the face, finger, or iris will come into operation sooner or later. But I don't see any changes. It doesn't make any difference if you understand the work of the government. They just bring up another black budget organization that nobody knows, and in 20 years we'll find out somebody replaced the CIA. You got to understand, CIA is an extension of the British intelligence, not the independent, what you call, organization. CIA always has been well connected, an extension of MI6 and British monarchy organization of the work. It's has never been on its own, will never be on its own. The two always have worked together and always set the things up. And as we always say in the political arena, United States is extension of what we call one of the old, what we call, Commonwealth countries. The United States has never given freedom. They've been given deciding what they run their countries and how they run it. In the Ghent negotiation between Russia and US and England, England did not give United States freedom. It's categorically is in there. Find the negotiation when it was done in the city of Ghent in Belgium for establishment of United States. United Kingdom accepts US as a colony. Read it and understand it. So abolition of the CIA and the rest will not make much difference. The British intelligence, the monarchy, and the way the governing of the bank, United States Central Bank and Federal Bank, all are part of what we call Rothschild organization and will not change.
Well, my point was more so that the people are, now that people will see that we had a fraudulent election and how elections are
You
controlled.
always had a fraudulent election.
No, I know, I understand. No, but the majority of people didn't know it. And so now when the assassination of President Kennedy is revealed and who did it all, how the Federal Reserve is a foreign bank, how all these things have been hidden, that's the point that, okay, so if we have to have elections, we'll dip our finger in purple ink and we'll go back to paper ballots. We'll create a constitutional Congress, and the money that's coined will be coined from the Congress. This is, I guess it's the way that it has to happen, where justice and freedom if you can't talk about it, you have to do it. And so it's a great time because now we get to bring down all of those secret things and bring them all out into the open. You know, it's like shine a light on it and watch them scatter. And it's all based on the fiat and who controls the fiat, who controls the voting, who does. So people weren't aware of all these things, and now it's going to be thrust out in front of them, and it's going to cause some chaos, absolutely. But this is the painful process that we have to go through to make it right. And as far as the digital, digital, the vax, all that stuff is huge groundswell of backlash against all this. It goes to the virus, the voting frauds, all these things. It's just huge, and the more people are waking up to it, and the groundswell is getting huge. And in a way, it's kind of, you know, even though it's kind of a nationalistic thing, but it's really a global thing, because everyone wants to be free and fair and have liberties, and everyone should. And with this technology that you're introducing, you give us hope that we could, you know, we don't have to rely on the government for the food, the water, and the medicines. And so that's why we in a way, we're going to be working in conjunction with the Keshe Foundation to move forward and to have you know, return on what we've done. You know, we're not interested in wars and taking from others, but giving and providing and using the technology to make that happen, Mr. Keshe. So that's the reason why I brought it up in the first place, is that things are going on in the background, but now they're coming to the foreground so that everyone can see what's going on.
The way, there are many ways to elect a government, but if we go the way we see it, maybe in the next 10 years, 20 years, and depends how much technology and knowledge we put in, maybe we come to the point that we don't need to elect. That's the ultimate goal. We don't need, when you appoint the Universal Council, and when they can function and deliver in what they've been set out to do, then you understand that, do we need to have elections? It's part of the one planet, one nation, one race. And in a way, if you see it, we see a lot of things, especially we are strengthening what I call the Universal Council. We are strengthening what we call the confidence and work with the heads of the Keshe Foundation, and to be ready to accept the changes to come that they can run. If you remember, very early this year, announced 3 members of the Universal Council will leave through misconduct, and some will leave due to the position and time. And we have seen it progressively happen. What we see, the members of the Universal Council will gradually become to who they are and what they are supposed to do. And they take their position, and they will bring the change that we don't need elections. Any offices in the future time has to be taken up by appointment of the soul and how we can serve. This is the ultimate, that people will put their lives and time on doing it, and then we see how we can do. This greed of position has to go. But you have to, as we said, elevate the soul. And in a way, we are not idealistic. We see the processes taking shape. There are a lot of changes that in next coming times we'll see will bring people wanting to be in that position. As I said to a knowledge seeker recently, if I give you two options to become accepted injection for corona or accept to be able to use technology that makes you a better person to serve humanity, to serve what we call wherever you live, which one would you accept? You got to realize once we change the position, whatever with a combination of technologies, we will change a lot of changes will come in through. We see it, we see more of it, but as I said, Keshe Foundation with the technology we brought out has been hidden deliberately by many. And now we see those who are sitting in the head in some nations have decided to bring the Keshe Foundation out. And once we come out in the way we see it, it will be very much, people will grasp the idea and they run with it. And we have to have technologies that we can deliver to bring that change. And these technologies are rapidly getting developed, not developed, being delivered, that can be what we call change makers. And what we see, we cannot talk that it can do, we have to deliver that does what it says. And this is the enhancement unit is part of it. The delivery of the new corona systems are part of it. And the delivery of technologies, which is unseen but known to be work, will be part of it. If we tell people you have an option between a system that can scare you from any virus, then systems or injections that might help you and it kills many. We read in the press that European community has ordered 300 million injections out of 375 million population. And the injections can be dangerous if they have to be kept as 70 degrees. What happened in the body of 37 degrees of the man? What mayhem they're going to produce? Nobody has tested it. They say they tested 45,000. We say we want to see the data. We want to see the people. Yes, they were alive 24 hours. They were dead in 36 hours. What is their mental state? We were in a chat and the people say the injections have given has increased and brought the third cycle of corona. How many people in Europe will die before it starts? Are we pessimistic? Why do we need to use nanomaterials which can interfere with RNA. You don't do the work, you're shut down. You're told what time to be where, you don't follow, you're shut down. Would they inject these to babies as they come out of the womb of the mother? Would they survive the children such an injection? Or they put out at such an age, you have to get your son or child injected. Would become the story of the Moses, we hide children to have a race which is not touched. As I said, one of knowledge because I move out of Europe. I'm not prepared to get injected.
Well, that's what I meant by how this election has brought the forefront that the power that we give them to be governed, we've taken that away because it's been shown to be a fraudulent activity. And so they can't, so as we go back to the pursuit of happiness and our Bill of Rights, we have inalienable rights. They cannot inject us with anything they decide to. They cannot do these things that they want to. They are not authorized to do these things, and we will fight them with the pen. Hopefully, we won't have to do it with physicality, but they don't hold the power anymore. They don't hold the science because the science is junk.
But we've got to realize you don't have an injection, you can't go to the supermarket.
I'm the last man standing. I will create my own. That's what you've taught me, to create my own, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, but you have to realize the marginalization has started. They start the first set of injections in 2 or 3 weeks in some European countries.
And that's why we've come to be so vocal at this point, is that, we want to help you help yourselves. And, I would hope that all freedom-loving people on this would look to what America used to stand for, perhaps, before the CIA's did all these terrible things and that we, received the backlash. That was not us. We always wanted to be free and fair and have choice. And so, in America, it's the law is it's our body, it's our choice. And so they cannot see, they pushed it to be that way for eugenic purposes, but now we can use that same thought and lawfulness to prevent them from doing these things. See, that's and having the knowledge on how to use those things that are already established is going to defang them. They can't push, when they're so small, they can't push us around. They want to think, the propaganda, the whole propaganda things they're using are been completely destroyed. There's no ethics, there's no truth in any of their propaganda or anything anymore. And that's what's been brought to the forefront now, is that they can't be trusted and they shouldn't be trusted, and we don't trust them. So don't try to do anything to us anymore. We gave you the benefit of the doubt for the last 9 months with regard to the virus, and they've completely blown that. Okay, so now that whole shtick that they're trying to do and trying to control the information, it doesn't work. Things are being built and platforms are being built by alternative thought processes, and that's what I said about the building a communication network so that our good intentions are felt by everyone, where that communication, if it intends to do you no harm, then it will be received, as opposed to something that would intend to do you harm, is you block it right away. In a way, it's the building on the communications that you've already tried to help us understand, These are things that you brought to us, Mr. Keshe, and now we're using these things and putting them into application, even if they're not as ideally the way we would like to have them and as powerful as we want. The whole idea has been spread like the GANs around the planet, and it's beautiful. It's really starting to kick in.
Something which is in your belief, as I said, I was talking 2 weeks just after the elections with one of the senior CIA officers, who he was, in a way, would have been before lined up to be one of the presidential candidates. And he was telling me, we managed to get Trump out. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I was responsible for so many million votes, and we got it in the way we wanted it. And he was very proud, very arrogant about it, that CIA did his job. And as he's a senior officer in the structure, it made me think, do you have a freedom? How much freedom? And to what extent? This elusive freedom is how much corners we can cut to get there, and how much we're allowed to do to be able to. But we have to deliver structures which can make that change. And as I said, we will take our time. We take our time. But we're about to deliver a very powerful technology. But as some of you know who are close, and most probably you are here, we're negotiating with governments in which and how. But the biggest structure is how much you as knowledge seekers have learned to be able to survive this. What is your extent of knowledge, not just with cancers? How do you raise the level of your soul that you can literally not to be seen? Part of the teaching was this, and somehow a lot of knowledge seekers listen, but they don't see, they don't understand, and some of the knowledge seekers see a shortcut trying to find something else, but they miss the point. And in just a few minutes ago, I explained they close. If you don't have a system, they close supermarkets, and because you don't have access to it. If you want something just for the sake of it, how many of you can go to your soul and not to be seen? It's not a magic anymore. It's understanding, and the technology is in your hand. You don't let me through the wall, I know to go through the glass. I'm a wind. This is, if you even go into the patent, what we talk about is in the patent. I hid it beautifully in the patent. In the original patent, how to do it is written.
Isn't that a way when you talked about how, in a way, the magnet in a way, magnetic fields go through, like when you put a magnet on the table and you had a magnet underneath it, you could manipulate the magnet on top of the table because the matter state was not, it was like it wasn't there. You explained it something to be like like you said, you could go through the wall, you could manipulate what's on the other side of the wall, and the wall didn't provide a barrier to you using the fields.
More or less. More or less. If you, as you said, and I've explained it in a very hidden way many, many times, if, as you say, you put a magnet on one side of the book and you put the magnet on the other side of the book and you can transfer fields from one to another, then what about if I put you through that field? Does the book matter anymore? And this technology is in our possession. You speak about the Faraday box. We speak about different kind of box, but it's still the same. As you said, if you can put magnetic field with two magnets on either side of the wall, so if they can go through, why can't I? And it's in the pattern. I explained to knowledge seekers. I've shown it in a very rare occasion. I can put my hands in anyone's stomach and take whatever is there out and just put something else in there and you can take an X-ray. The knowledge has been well explained. When you have that kind of power, when you have that kind of understanding, would they want to put every supermarket and everything else in a magnetic shield box? Or in a nano-coating box? It won't work. If you can get radiation through a planet to come out of the other side, you can do the man the same, making part of that radiation. There's still a lot to teach and very little understand.
Mr. Keshe, I've had a thought recently. If someone were to find a way to interfere with the communication on the chip, let's say, and you said that
What?
If someone was able to interfere with the communication on a chip in a vaccine, and you said not to be afraid of the vaccine and so on, but if you were to have the vaccine and for some reason it did not communicate where it was supposed to communicate, wouldn't they ask you to come in for a do-over? And therefore you'd end up with a second vaccination because the first one didn't take hold properly, they would think?
They can ask you for 100. My body doesn't accept chip. Very simple. As I said, we have to understand what is doable and what can be done. They replace it for you, yes. They keep on replacing it for you, yes. They have not thought this thing through themselves. And when they start a vaccination, nationally, as I said before, people have to ask for the heads of the nation in public to be injected. And let's see, 7 days later, we all accept to be injected. All the advisors to the government, all people, senior consultants in their 60s and 70s have to be injected first, the one who advised. There has to be a balance somewhere. But on the other hand, there has to be a new technology which takes this balance out. And this is what we are waiting for. If we launch our technology, which is a major breakthrough technology now, it will disappear. They gobble it up. But if we show our technology in open in conjunction with governments, we get what we want.
But Mr. Keshe, how do they convince the Jews to take a tattoo again when from World War II we've strived to not go down that same path? How are they going to try to convince the Jews to take another tattoo in that respect?
Jews will be the first one in the line to get the injection.
But will they do it if they know it's the same tattoo?
Would they do it if they know there's anything in that tattoo? We all get different kind of injection, depends what they want to do with us. Why have they ordered 300 million when Europe has 375 million? Who are the 75 million who are not going to receive it? What happened to those who they don't get it? They already know these people don't get it. Or have they pre-selected?
Will they be able to convince the Muslims to take something like that?
They already have done. The whole of United Arab Emirates have been injected. As the doctor says, none of them work. It's just a lot of people are getting a lot of money for bringing it in. We got to change the course in a different way. And at the moment, we're pondering on it. The Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers did not do support us when there was a need for a support to do things a certain way. And would we get the same support if we go out, or another technology will be stolen and we scuffled? We've been receiving calls in past days that governments want to do certain things with Keshe Foundation because they realized what has happened in the background was deliberate to block. We'll see. I promised I won't give any information out till everything is according to the way we want it.
Anyone else? I'm going to play the message to humanity at the end here. And Mr. Keshe tells us there's a party being planned on this planet, but we don't want to see half of the inhabitants miss out on this party. So I hope this technology that's being referred to is revealed rather quickly. But it'll be at the right time. But I want to see everyone make it to the party, not just half the guests.
I support that, Mark.
You will be seeing many guests from outside.
Anyone else would like to add to the knowledge? Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for coming in and elevating us. Alex, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you very much, Mark. And thank you, Mr. Keshe, and everyone for being here with us today. Very important event. It may not seem like we've done much, but from a soul level, there's a lot going on. As I mentioned today, and we have been doing the Brazilian Knowledge Seekers basic plasma teaching now for 7 weeks. Tomorrow will be the 7th one. We have had tremendous response, quite surprising actually, and pleasing at the same time. So there's been a demand for the basic plasma teaching because of the voluminous amount of information that we have that's in various media forms. And so what we'd like to do is to extend this possibility where what we're doing is making this presentation of a 9-class package, and we're doing a simultaneous broadcast with Portuguese Brazilian crew. There is a Spanish simulcast translation in the background, and these groups are putting it on the internet, which is kind of interesting. But we've had a demand for the presentation of the PowerPoint, the transcription of the presentation, and the packaging of the presentation combination in written form. And there was been a tremendous push on the Brazilian side because they are well organized, relatively speaking, and they have very strong crew who are interested in learning about the technology and then becoming teachers and becoming independent enough to be able to teach, because there's over 200 million people in Brazil and there's not many of us, but this is a start and it's kind of a seed. And because we have so many people in the international community at this panel today, I would like to extend this opportunity because we are ramping up our capabilities to be able to not only translate in Brazilian Portuguese, but into many other languages. If this type of program would be desirous, and if we have, whether on the Universal Council or members who are organizing on a local basis, if this is something that you would like, please get in touch with me, and we will do whatever we can to make that happen. So we have an opportunity to not only present this package to you as it's been presented, and then give you the translation, but also to present the package all over again. I have tried to do this basic teaching in a 9-class session because of the urgency of the situation and the amount of time that we have. And as you've seen from today, it's jam-packed with a lot of knowledge. It allows newcomers to get a broader perspective. It allows experienced people to be able to pick and choose what they need to take away from it that would possibly fill a hole or assist them in being able to transfer that knowledge to someone else. So it was my pledge to do this as a gift to the Brazilian community. And this has absolutely blossomed out into something that has totally been unexpected but most welcome. And so I just want to inform everybody on this panel, because we have so many people from the universal community in so many different languages. We're going to make this available if that is your wish. So that is my announcement for that. And I want to thank all the members of the panel for being here today. And thank especially Mr. Keshe for, again, making me an appearance. This is so helpful in so many ways going forward. This knowledge is for everyone. We're bringing peace to this planet. We won't leave anybody behind. And we will be feeding the indomitable spirit that drives us forward, because life is for learning, and this universe is a benevolent place. Thank you for listening to me and our presentation. Thank you for spending your valuable time today. And let's have a wonderful week. And over to you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex, for all your efforts and your teaching in this area. There's another question in the chat, if Mr. Keshe would like to take it. Mr. Keshe, how can we, newer knowledge seekers, support better? And this probably applies to older knowledge seekers like myself as well, if you'd like to answer.
What do you mean by support?
Thomas, would you open your mic if you're still here? I know just a few minutes ago you said the knowledge seekers didn't support properly, and that's why some of the things didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. And I know in the past you've said in certain months you've received €6 as a donation in a month. Support for the foundation from, I guess, knowledge seekers and all the other supporters around. So how can we, newer knowledge seekers and older like myself, support the foundation better?
More or less, as we always said, I have backed the foundation for years. Don't forget, as I said, in 2005, it was one man, and today, some 15 years later, we're in tens of millions. And financially, we have sustained the growth of the foundation with some help here and there, but primarily it has stood on its own merit, and its own strength. We hardly receive enough donation across the year to even cover 1 month expenses of the foundation. But everybody takes everything. We see many people sell things on the name of the foundation. We see people, all sorts of things is done. As I always said, you give freely, comes back freely. And somehow, the only thing we always ask people, the only donation you can do, because you cannot support financially, is to teach. teaching freely. And things will go their own way. That's all we can do. There's nothing else. And if we look at everything which comes in for the foundation, we are very rich with the support we have, with the way we have grown and the way we're still growing every day. Like every system, we have those who fall out or people who live, but there's still somewhere in the background. As one person said, once this thing bites you, it'll catch you for the rest of your life. And many people leave, come back after a few years, many people go and they come back again. And one way or another, humanity will progress. And one way or another, we will get where we're supposed to go. It's just try to teach, because you don't never know who you have taught and what he might do and what save they might, what life they might save. We had on the teaching last Thursday, as we were teaching, from Brazil, knowledge seeker sending a message that his daughter just born during the teaching, and later on he has written to the foundation the reason that he thanks for the teaching, that his wife had to have abortion, and when using GANs of the cup #1, they managed to sustain the pregnancy and the child was born during the teaching. And when you see that a father, a man looking, and a child is born for a father to have, he looks, go back and see who taught him and how he got to learn about the making of the gas that has made him to allow them to have a child to enjoy the life. As he wrote, he sent this picture, little girl just born. He says, my wife had been having an abortion and was unable to maintain her pregnancy. With the water from cup #1, she managed to carry the pregnancy through to the end. And today I'm a father of a beautiful girl. It's a path of life. It's the way we learn, we teach. And as we say, is who taught the man to make the guns, that he could make it to have the child. The way the man is responsible for the making the bullet, designing the bullet, is responsible for it, was the man who taught the man to make the guns, that he can have the joy of being a father. He receives the blessing. And this is the way we do. We shouldn't care how we teach, where we teach, as long as we teach that somebody might need it one day, and that's what counts. Just teach. We look after the financial side. We've always done. Somehow the foundation has managed to survive. I've invested millions of dollars into it. And somehow we still keep on doing it. but there'll come time that it will stand on its own. Thank you very much.
Is this the beautiful soul you talked about creating? I know Rick said it was quite a coincidence that it happened during part of your teaching. Not a coincidence per se, but you talked about a beautiful soul. I mean, not that we needed that soul, but if one person made that breakthrough, the rest could go through the gate as well. Is there a special soul coming?
Yes.
Or is it, yeah.
It'll be known, and it'll be the time for it, it'll be known. It's the cycle of the change. And it's a cycle for a change for not this planet, but all beyond. We don't create another, we start a new change. And this time is right across the universe. That's why it's a soul created, not another person. That decides if he wants to take shape of physicality.
So, Mr. Keshe, to expand a little bit more on that, if you have the ability to create the soul, what is it that is necessary to create the soul of physicality, that it would manifest as the soul of physicality, or that it manifests as an entity? Is that how, you created a condition, but it had to have agreed to that condition, or it had to find some kind of benefit to prove it, to confirm it for you? That's what I'm struggling with.
We in time we will explain. In time will be explained. It's not something that is coincidental. It's been planned for thousands of years.
Well, that's just for me. I'm trying to work, I created it and it manifested, but I don't understand how it came to be that it manifested.
It'll be manifested in time, yes. We keep very quiet about it. We keep it out of the way till the time comes. And even then, it's something that it'll be discussed. We don't keep it anything hidden. It's just the way is structured as the process takes its own shape. It's the change of time. At the same time, it's time for change. We'll see. We keep it very, very open, and the reason for it will be explained. And in so many ways, mankind will become open to it. As has always said, it takes one soul to change everything. And this soul will be it. It will change
Out of curiosity, would you be able to indicate whether, if it manifests in the physicality, the being, would it be a male or a female? Or maybe both?
We'll have to wait and see. No prophecies. We're very clear about it, and I've seen many things being written about it, but I keep out of it because all the process due has been set. And it's set by the time of and the hand of destiny, not by choice and deliberation. Nothing has been done deliberate to change. It's a course which has been set. And there is a reason for it. And it might shock many of you. But that is the time when the change, and we are building it to that point. It's a unification with the universe, and totality comes as one become one. As I said to one knowledge seeker, is the time when all the heartbeats of the universe becomes one. The heartbeat of the earth creates the condition of us, that any living thing will have the conditions as we have and abide by it. So shall be this time, the whole of the universe will beat with one heartbeat. You shall see. Thank you very much.
And Dean says, thank you for your beautiful soul. And Kay says, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for bringing these important information and your continued efforts to help humanity in the right direction while protecting mankind through this abysmal and desperate era. God bless, love and peace to all.
Thank you very much. The time has come for man to become peaceful. And in a way, the gift for man to change is the entry to universal community. And this process, when you become to universal community, is to be the same for all. It's not that the earth is the last point. Every day new lives in the universe are created in different positions and direction. But from now on, they all be the same. Thank you very much. Good night.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.